it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to me to go over everything.
Hi, I'm Puran Bridgemohan, Associate Professor of Crop Science at the University of Sri Lanka. And I teach several courses in agriculture, crop science, crop production, crop physiology, plant nutrition, weed management. And in all these programs, in all these courses, the students do lectures, write report, do laboratories, and sometimes use for at least 50% of the in-course. Students in the BSc Crop Science are students who have matriculated from the Diploma in Agriculture or Forestry. The BSc in Crop Science is a 3-year degree program, and the students do classes in addition to laboratories, field visits, and internship. And in all instances, they are required to do a written report, laboratory report, and depends on if they are on other courses, an internship report. All these reports, they do either written or in some instances, we do video documentation. In all programs, students are expected to undertake agriculture-based projects. These projects develop the student critical thinking and ability to analyze and solve problems. These problems may be production-based, laboratory-based, or can be conducted in the greenhouse. In all events, the students prepare the written reports. What I have found over the last 3 years, the students do very poorly in the written reports. The major issue with the reports is clarity and accuracy in reporting, and it requires a lot of effort and attention. They excel in the other forms of report, be it video or be it illustrations. But more so, employers have been complaining that the students' reporting skills and the ability to generate reports on field visits or to make recommendations to the employers and programs have been very deficient. This presentation is on action research on improving students' written reports in problem-based projects. This action research on improving student written reports in problem-based project was conducted at the BAF UTT with the final year students in the BSc Crop Science. There were 5 students registered for this course, but only 3 students undertook the course during this period. The course was Weed Science, and it's a 2-hour 3-credit course, 2 hours lecture, 2 hours lab. The students are examined with a final exam 50% and 2 in-course projects, 1 10-minute video, which 40%, and a written report, 10%. Scientific and technical writing has always proven to be problematic for students. As instructors, we need to bridge a gap between laboratory reports and scientific writing that promote construction and meaning. Scientific writing assists students to generate meaning from data. It can make connections between the observation, the data, and conclusion. They are engaged in metacognition, but one of the greater benefits of scientific writing is the collaborative peer discussion, the group effort, and then writing the final report. Zamel revealed a relationship between instructors and instruction, and students and scientific writing. And they found that writing continued to be taught according to a reductionist approach. They suggested that teachers should engage themselves and analyze the relationship between teaching and writing. Sharp et al. Analyzed the problem and found that students need to do peer editing and revise their assignments. There are 3 major challenges experienced by instructors in teaching report writing. The problem lies with the aims and objectives, introduction, and materials and method. In this research project, we spend more time with students who are engaged in active research and assisted them in scientific writing. This action research on improving student written reports in problem-based project was conducted at the BAF UTT with the final year students in the BSc Crop Science. There were 5 students registered for this course, but only 3 students undertook the course during this period. The course was Weed Science, and it's a 2-hour 3-credit course, 2 hours lecture, 2 hours lab. The students are examined with a final exam 50% and 2 in-course projects, 1 10-minute video, which 40%, and a written report, 10%. The overarching research questions in this study are: 1. How can tutorials writing a laboratory report can be used to improve student writing skills in science? And 2. What aspects of the experience can be transferred to the improvement and documented the introduction and methodology of written reports? The study was conducted in 3 phases. First, phase 1 or the pre-study, phase 2, the intervention, and 3, the assessment. In the pre-study phase, the issue of poor writing skills was observed, and the need to emphasize and reinforce through tutorial was conducted. The intervention phase aimed to use tutorials to improve the elements of research and the structure and format of the report. In this particular study, it was specific to the preparation of the introduction and methodology of the written report, as the period of time for the intervention was 2 months. The tutorial was conducted in a 1-hour session with specific learning outcomes on identification and construction of sections of the written report, how to conduct a literature search, and the process of writing the report. At the end of the outcome, the students were supposed to, were able to, do the steps in writing the research paper, correct the outcomes, the comments, and prepare the final version. The assessment phase was dedicated to the collection, observation, and analysis of the hard evidence collected. The data were collected mainly on the behavior of the student in relation to the intervention and the analysis of data from the peer. In this slide, the overarching questions were linked directly to the data subset. First, arching question: how tutorials can assist or improve writing the laboratory report? The data subset were on the academic deficiencies, mainly the grammar, punctuation, and spelling. And in the second question, the data subset related to overarching question: what aspects of the experience can be transferred? We look mainly at the format, introduction, rationale, methodology, etc. The timeline to conduct the study was within 2 months. In this chart, it shows the point of problem identification, the reviews, the intervention, and the assessment process. In this particular slide, we see the description in the rubric and the criteria which was used to evaluate the improvement after each tutorial. This is the rubric for the marking by the 2 independent markers who are from the university but in the Department of Education. Of the 5 students registered for the course, only 3 undertook the course, and the ranges aged from 22 to 23. There was 1 female and 2 males. They all had the same background. They all came from the senior comprehensive school with more than 5 O-levels. 2 of the students completed the diploma in agriculture and 1 forestry. Their current GPA as final year students will be 2.2 to 2.6. And on the core sciences, which all had laboratories, you were not required to do detailed written reports, but simple calculations and representations using graphs and minimal narratives. The student submission for the pre-study and after the interventions are labeled as A, B, and C respectively, and the 2 markers as marker 1 and marker 2. Table 5 reflects the grade of the different categories for both markers 1 and 2 for the 3 submissions A, B, and C, which came out from the rubric format, introduction, a rationale, methodology, content, illustrations, and bibliography. Shows in total that the students were improving after each submission. However, there was the difference in the marker between marker 1 and marker 2. But by the 3rd submission, C, they would have all moved from 6 and 3 and 1/3 to 12 and 10 and 3/4 out of a total of 15. If we look at format, they were improving in format and they would have reached the maximum point. Methodology, they received the maximum point, and illustrations improve over time. So what we have seen so far, that in the final submission, the students gained 12 and 10.75 out of a total of 15 marks. We saw noticeable improvements in spelling and grammar, and that they were also able to use the feedback from the tutorials to improve their work. They used the feedback to construct new meaning to improve not only the grammar and spelling, but also the structure and format of the report. There is evidence of improvement of behavior in the students after they have taken the tutorials. However, the students would have showed a low level of readiness as final year students in tertiary education. And this may account for their poor report skills in the place of employment, where they are required to give reports or recommendations on activities requested by the employer. On hindsight, when one looks at their school-based assessment, the students would have done very well at the CXC. However, as final year students, they are now performing poorly with the oral and written skills, particularly in the written reports. What we have seen is a change in student behavior by the action research taken. By teaching the students basic skills, they improve to a higher level in grammar and report format. What we have seen is that learning took place as the experience led to a change in behavior, and this is reflected in the reports A, B, and C. The tutorials assisted the students to internalize the instructions given to them, both in the feedback and from the tutorials. And what they did was to blend their prior knowledge and constructed in their own minds what the report should look like. In fact, I must say the final report did meet my expectations. I think the students would have conformed to behaviorism. There is evidence of constructivism. We saw that the students constructed their own understanding and knowledge of what the report should be and reflected on those experiences from the tutorial and the feedback. It is necessary that we develop interventions as action research that will address these deficiencies. What we have seen is that a data subset of academic deficiency and a structured report link the research questions on how tutorial writing can improve the report and what aspects of the experience can be transferred. And the response was that there was 65% improvement, and there was evidence that the action research did in fact improve the students' understanding of the format of a scientific report. What have I been able to achieve from this action research? Well, action research tutorials are able to assist students in the format. It has shown that it improved their writing skills in the scientific report. They were able to make corrections and improvement after receiving feedback. It allowed them to connect rational and objective in an introduction. And with respect to the methodology, they were able to design, collect, analyze the data, and make appropriate interpretations. In fact, I think the action research did improve what I set out to do to improve their introduction and methodology. As a student in higher education and as an instructor in undergraduate sciences, I found that action research has assisted me in identifying deficiencies or shortcomings in the teaching and learning of my students. It has assisted me in developing appropriate interventions, applying these interventions, consulting my peers, using the feedback to assist the students to improve in their outcomes. I have seen that in this particular study, that the action research did in fact improve the students' writing skills, their grammar and spelling, and also their whole outlook towards report writing.